Welcome to Untold Chapters of Mongol History. Today I would like to begin our talk with Dr. Otkumbayar with making a reference to Hutulun Princess, as mentioned in Marco Polo's book. Well, Hutulun Princess was a daughter of King Khaidu, Khaidu Han. So apparently you would now understand that I'm now leaning toward introducing in our talk an era or a period which leads to the fall of the Mongol Empire. Let's begin with who was Khaidu Han and how is he related to Genghis Khan's empire, his family lineage. Mm-hmm. And then we will move on to his role in that, I would say, sad story about the fall of Mongol Empire.
Yes, for sure. Khaidu is one of the very fascinating characters in the Mongolian history, which was, in my opinion, unjustly forgotten. Mm-hmm. There is a reason why he was forgotten, because if you see the sources related with the history of Mongolia, it's dominated basically either Persian sources, Iranian sources, or Chinese sources. And Khaidu was the Khan who was feuding with Kublai. So Chinese sources would either await his story or write about him in a very negative manner.
And you will explain us why.
Mm-hmm. And Khaidu was also feuding with Ilkhans. So all the Ilkhan sources refer to Khaidu, either await or refer to Khaidu in negative manner. That's how he was forgotten. And Khaidu was grandson of Ugudi. Ugudi's Queen Durgan, his youngest son Hashin. Some sources say that he was named as Hashin because he was born at the year of the subjugation of Tangut Kingdom, 1207, and Tangut Kingdom was called in Mongolian language as Hashin. So that's why his father's name was Hashin. So when Khaidu was born, the legends say that he was brought to Ugudi, and Ugudi has said that one day this boy will succeed me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's how legends say.
Yeah, Ugudi Han told that after him, son of Hashin will take the throne, but Hashin died before the birth of his son.
Yes, actually...
And that will of Ugudi actually was never realized.
Actually, again, it's a sad story why empire started this fall. Because from Ugudi onwards, the succession pattern has been broken. Mm-hmm. It started with Guyuk, the Queen Durgan. She really badly wanted her son Guyuk to succeed Ugudi. And Ugudi, actually, he himself wanted another grandson of his, Shirmun, to succeed him. So when Guyuk succeeded to the throne unjustly, it led to a division among the Chingizids. Some, of course, most notably, Batu was against Guyuk. They had really a feud starting from the Northern Kipchak War. And following Batu, some of the Chingizids did not agree that Guyuk was really legitimate Khan, etc. So that led to the dissolution of the Mongolian Empire, and also interestingly led to creation of such figures like Khaidu. Mm-hmm. And Khaidu is very much interesting in the sense that in his story, we will see the contradiction between steppe aristocracy and empire aristocracy. Khaidu was
sedentary and nomadic.
Yeah. When I say empire aristocracy, is that some part of the Mongolian aristocracy who changed their lifestyle into the sedentary civilizations like Kublai in China or Ilkhans in Persia. Whereas Khaidu was an adept of the steppe nomadic traditions. He was a really famous warrior. Otherwise, when you are fighting mighty emperor of Yuan for 40 years and have 44 battles, half of which he won, that says something. And Khaidu was a ruler of very small kingdom compared to Yuan.
Okay, then now, since, Khaidu was born after the demise of his father,
Yes.
around like 1235.
His father died in 1234 when Khaidu was still
in mother's womb.
In mother's womb. His father died because of the alcoholism, which was common also among Mongol aristocrats. And maybe because of that, Khaidu never drank. The sources mention that he even did not taste fermented mare's milk. Arak, yes, which is very common drink for Mongols, but Khaidu never drank, even arak. So maybe I suppose maybe it was part of his memory of his father, and maybe his mother taught her son.
That his father was.
Taught her son to avoid any alcoholic drinks.
So then he was born in 1235. What was happening in the Mongol Empire at that time? 7 years after the Great Khan's death. Then Ogude now is the
Ogude has become a great Khan, and the Mongol Empire was continuing its drive of conquests, 1235.
In its full might.
In its full might. 1235 is the Great Kurultai in Harhoring, with the decision to continue war against the Southern Song, with the decision of the Western Hepjak War, conquests of Russia, invasion into Europe. So it was that period. And in 1242, when Ogude died, as I mentioned, the problem of succession has started. And, Durgan finally managed to put Guyuk on the throne. Guyuk didn't last long in the throne. In 1248, he died. And a very interesting event took place in Mongolia. Some historians suggest it was Toluid revolution. Supposedly one of the sons of Guyuk or Ogude should succeed to the throne, but with the help of Batu, Mongke, son of Toluid, has succeeded as a great Khan of Mongols. Again break in the succession tradition of Mongols. And when Mongke succeeded to the throne, there was a plot to kill him, and the grandson of Ogude Shirimun and son of Guyuk Naho. These guys have been caught
plotting against the Han.
Plotting against the Han, and Mongke decided to kill everybody who got involved with this plot. Some sources say that 77 princes have been killed, mostly from Ogude descent, some of the Sagadai descent who was involved in the plot, or I wouldn't say even was involved, who was believed to be involved in this plot.
So massive purge.
Yeah, massive purge of Ugudeids, and Ugudei's realm has been dissolved and taken over basically by Toluid sons.
Which territories are we now talking about?
Well, to the
Ugudei's
west of
realm?
Altai Mountains, right up to Irtish River. And at that time, Khaidu was spared. Khaidu was spared for the reason that he is still young to take part in this revolt. He was 15.
Teenager.
Yeah, we are talking about 12, 15. So, Khaidu was spared. And now most historians believe that when Mukhan died and the contradiction among the Toluid has started for the throne of the great Khan, Khaidu has taken the part of Arikbukhe against Kublai. But if you see the historical sources, things are not that simple. Because after purge of Ugudeids, Mongol decided to give some of the descendants of Ugudei who did not participate in the plot, after dissolution of Ugudei's realm, he decided to allocate some lands to the princes of Ugudei's lineage, and that way, son of Ugudei Kadan, I think we mentioned him during the invasion, in the Subete Bator's episode during the invasion into Hungary, Poland, and Romania. Khatan was commanding left wing of the invading army. He got city of Bishbalik in Uiguria, which is today's Xinjiang. Another son of Ugudei, Melik, has got Irtish River Valley, and one grandson, Mingetu, has got western part of Tangut Kingdom, and Khaidu was allocated city of Kayalik. That's in Central Asia, a little bit north of Al-Malik, city of Al-Malik, which used to be capital of the Chagatai Ulus. So, and also in Yuanxi, there are references about the princess who was getting yearly remuneration from Great Khan Kublai. And the name of Khaidu was mentioned there.
It's like pensions? Or?
Well, remuneration. Allowance, okay. And I believe that if Khaidu was against Kublai, on the side of Erik Buch, probably Kublai would not pay the remuneration to him. So I can assume that at the beginning, Khaidu was pro-Kublai or at least neutral in this stand of two brothers. I think we should also explain why Erik Buch and Kublai,
yes, of course,
started this great stand against each other. 1259, Great Khan Mongol died during the Southern Song campaign. And again, the question of the succession has risen up. And Kublai was on Chinese front, commanding Mongolian army on the Chinese front. And Erik Buch was in Kharkhorin. Erik Buch was the youngest son of Durgen, and he was actually left in original Mongolian territory in Kharkhorin, because usually in Mongolian tradition, usually youngest son would be looking after this
present home.
Yeah. So immediately Erik Buch convened the Kurultai in Kharkhorin and declared himself as a great Khan.
Without consulting with Hublai, with Hulagu?
Yes. And Hublai immediately returned from Chinese front to city of Kaifeng and organized another Kurultai and declared himself as a great Khan. Some Mongolians believe that Kublai was traitor, because actually in Kurultai in Kaifin, which declared Kublai as a great Khan, there were very few Chingizids. Mostly participants were the commanders of the military units in Chinese front. So, Kipchaks, Alans, Tanguts, Uyghurs, etc. Whereas in Kharkhorin, of course, mostly Mongol they were mostly Mongol aristocrats who declared Arikbuk as a great Khan. That again leads us to a question. So it was not only contradiction between two brothers for the throne of the great empire, but also it was a contradiction between the steppe aristocracy and empire's aristocracy. That's how it started.
Whose side Hulagu took?
Oh, of course, Kublai's side.
Mm-hmm. Why, of course?
Because Hulagu and Kublai were very close. Very close. And
so Muh, Kublai, Hulagu, and
Arikbuk. Yeah. Arikbuk was simply too small when Kublai started his career. Hulagu, if Hulagu did not start his conquest of Iran and West Asia, some say that probably Hulagu will be great Khan, should he be in Mongolia, because he was really a man of talent and and strong will. But it happened
he was absent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was already far in the west. So basically, this contradiction led into the division of empire along the succession line. Golden Horde, where Khan Birke succeeded Khan Ulakchi. Birke, first of all, he really despised Hulagu. He was Muslim. Mm-hmm. And he despised Hulagu for the reason that Hulagu conquered Muslim countries, killed many Muslims, including Caliph of Baghdad, which was a kind of religious authority in the Muslim world. So for that reason, he did not like Kublai as well. So he, secretly sided with Arikbuk. He did not want to enter into war with Yuan. Rather, he preferred to fight with Ilkhan's Hulagu's forces, because there was a quarrel between Ilkhan's and the Golden Horde over the territory of Azerbaijan. Actually, the reason of this division among the Chingizids was, again, at this period, Mongols forgot Genghis Khan's tradition of allocating lands, conquered lands. If you see, for example, a northern Chinese map of that period, during Genghis Khan period, then you will see why the unity among Mongols was maintained so successfully. Okay, this is northern China map during the Genghis Khan. So you can see when Mongols conquered China, they divided Chinese provinces into different lineages. You can see Aimak of Ugute, Aimak of Chagatai. Chagatai is in Central Asia. Aimak of Juchi, that's a Golden Horde. Right in the west, etc. So you will see the Aimak of Ikiorda, Aimak of Toluid, etc.
And this is within the Qing Dynasty territory?
Yes.
Qing Dynasty.
Yes. So it was supposed that when Batu will conquer the western lands, if you remember, there are 13 princes went together with him.
The senior princesses.
Senior
princes.
Senior princes. And probably the Western land was supposed to be divided in this manner so that Yuan would have some land in Russia or Chagataids would have some land, I don't know, in Caucasia, etc., which did not happen because of the death of Kurultai.
And this is for tax collection purposes.
Yes, yes. So,
and that didn't happen.
And at the time of Kublai, Golden Horde was already separate in their own, having their own taxes, and Chagatais were in Central Asia, in Mauritania, having their taxes, and understandably Huluku also having same arrangement, and this division of China ceased to exist. So you can see the economic basis of the unity has gone. That's one of the reasons why the different lineage of Genghis Khan started fighting with each other.
Wow, this economic motive held the family united.
Yeah. So again, this is the difference of fighting, division of the Chingizids is one of the reasons when all these contradictions between steppe aristocracy and empire aristocracy has started. So what Kublai did, well, of course there were some battles fought between the two sides, but not serious ones, because it was not easy for Kublai to fight with his own brother. So what Kublai did was he started economic blockade of the steppe region. So no goods were coming from China to Mongolia. And Erik Buch, by the way, that's his depiction. Yes.
Wow.
And actually, Erik Buch, because he was deprived for the supply from China, he sent Algui, one of the sons of Great Khan, to Chagatai Ulus to become a Khan in Chagatai Ulus.
His own son?
No, Algui was son of Guyuk. And he sent Algui to Central Asia, to Chagatai Ulus, and Algui was supposed to govern in Chagatai Ulus and provide food, cereals to Mongolia, to Erik Buch. And when Algui came to Chagatai Ulus, he suddenly switched sides and took the side of Kublai. Obviously, because he was aware that Erik Buch's case is lost, because he knew that, I mean, from Chagatai Ulus, you cannot supply too much things to Central Mongolia and deprive from Chinese supply. Erik Buch is going to lose.
So he could foresee that?
Yeah, he could foresee that, and he switched the side. And Erik Buch went with the war on Algui. That's the story when he conquered Al-Malik. Erik Buch conquers Al-Malik, and this Algui is living with the Queen Arkina, the city of Al-Malik. So at that period, we can see that Khaidu is not against Kublai. He is not doing anything to support Erik Buch, whereas his domain is next to Al-Malik, if you remember, and he was supposed to take part in all this infighting among the Chingizids.
Did Erik Buch defeat him?
Well, in open battle, yes, but he could not stay long in Chagatai Ulus, and he had to go back to the central part of Mongolia, and Algui came back, and Algui started, conquering the lands next to Chagatai Ulus using the name of Great Khan Kublai. If you remember, Golden Horde was in feud with the Great Khan, so Algui attacked Golden Horde lands. Algui attacked also Ilkhanate, including Khaidu's domain. And most probably that pushed Khaidu toward Arikbuch later. Supremacy of his brother, etc. So, and then in 1265, Kublai was planning to have a great Kurultai in Khanbalik, or today's Beijing, and call the representatives of other houses of Chinggisid houses and make them recognize his supremacy. Everything was going well until 1265. Because Chagatai in Chagatai Ulus was recognizing his supremacy. Birke of Golden Horde fought a couple of wars with Kulugu, but both sides did not have a great success in any way. And Birke was eager to get his recognition from Kublai. And of course, Ilkhan Khulgu was supportive of Kublai. So everything was going smoothly. And probably if...
and Arikbuch also yielded?
Yeah, Arikbuch also yielded. And if Kurultai was held in 1265, probably we won't talk about the division of Mongol Empire for another 50 years. But unfortunate things happened. First of all, in the beginning of 1265, Khulgu died, and the problem of succession started in Ilkhanates. And 1265, suddenly, out of nowhere, Khaidu jumps out and declares his own realm in the west of the Mongolian territory. Immediately, Birke started siding with Khaidu, supporting him in direct or indirect way. Algu died in Chagatai Ulus, and Chagatai Ulus landed also in a problem of the succession. And Khaidu was, Khaidu was interested because Khaidu's realm is next to Chagatai Ulus. So Khaidu was interested to get involved in succession issues in Chagatai. And then Kublai Khan sent Barak to Chagatai Ulus to become a ruler over there. And Barak? Barak is he's from the Chagatai lineage, but Barak was born in Mongolia and has grown up in Mongolia. And Kublai sent him as Khan to Chagatai Ulus. And Barak and Khaidu, they fought wars. And by the time Birke was dead, and Munktumur has succeeded him as Munktumur is grandson of Batu, he succeeded the Golden Horde's throne. And when there was a war between Khaidu and Barak, Munktumur supported militarily Khaidu, and Barak was defeated. And it looked like that Chagatai Ulus will disappear in its now. It's turn of Chagatai Ulus to disappearing, and then Khaidu makes sudden move. He proposes Barak to sign a peace treaty, and 1260, there was great Kurultai held in Talas, in today's Kazakhstan's territory. And in a great Kurultai of Talas, three princes of Golden Horde, of Khaidu realm in Chagatai, Barak, Khaidu, in Mukhtamar, they declared independence from Great Khan in Khambalik or Beijing. Yeah, and it's interesting, the letter that they sent to Great Khan, which says, well, the princes of the Northwest had held Kurultai and decided to separate from the Great Khan because Great Khan now lives in China, writes in Chinese, and leads the city life. So again, it shows between the contradiction between the steppe aristocracy and the empire aristocracy. Based on that, some people believe that Kublai, well, he became cynicized. Some even call him as a traitor for moving the capital out of Karakorum to Beijing or Khambalik at that time. But on the other hand, Kublai was aware that he has to rule over China. And to rule over China, you have to become a Chinese emperor, besides being Mongol emperor. So that's why he changed the name of the state into Yuan, and he accepts Chinese name of Taizong, Emperor Taizong.
What does Yuan mean?
Yuan obviously means something beginning, original.
So he becomes Emperor Taizong.
He becomes Emperor of Taizong. Today we don't understand this, but in medieval times, you will see often these kind of things that the emperor is called in China as Huangdi, in Mongolia as Han, same person.
Same person.
If you remember when we were talking about the Tuoba Wei dynasty in northern China, in Mulan story, and Emperor of Tuobas, they have Tuoba name and they have Chinese name.
Shuhui.
Yeah. So the same story goes for the Mongol Empire because Kublai was aware that majority of his subjects are Chinese, and Chinese has to understand that the emperor is theirs, that he is not foreign emperor. He is an emperor of China.
So this is the way Kublai justified himself.
Well, okay, that's the way I'm justifying.
Okay, exactly, I wanted to know that.
Yeah.
Right. At this time, 1216, when these three Huns declared them independent from Kublai,
Yes.
Arikbukh is still in the steppe in Harharan.
Yeah, no.
Arikbukh died?
Arikbukh, yes, in 1260, Arikbukh was still in Karakorum.
And the three Huns are independent both from Kublai and from Arikbukh.
Yeah. So you can see, okay, this is original Mongolian territory in China, in Tibet, and that's the Yuan dynasty. This Chagatai is Ulus, and this Golden Horde, and this is Ilkhanate, if you can see. Yeah, there is nowhere Uguday's realm, right? Uguday's realm is somewhere here. Yeah.
Toulouse realm.
Yeah. Yeah. And having said this, when Arikbukh finally succumbed to Kublai, he miraculously died next year.
Which year was that?
1265.
The year Kublai wanted to convene the Kurultai.
Yes. And I suppose that he was helped to die.
You're not saying poisoned.
Well, there is
Just
no direct evidence, but he dies very conveniently for Kublai before the Kurultai. And then suddenly here emerges someone called Khaidu. He takes effective control over Chagatai Ulus, basically. And three princes, they have agreed not to attack each other. So when they agree not to attack each other, they're allowed to attack Ilkhans and Yuan. So
Collectively or separately?
Collectively or separately. So I believe for Khan of the Golden Horde, it was very convenient because he was already fighting with Ilkhans because of Azerbaijan. And it was good for them if Ilkhans will have second front from Chagatai Ulus. So basically Mukhtumur and Khaidu, they incited conflict between Chagatais and Ilkhans. So Barak immediately started attacking Ilkhans. But to be very frank, Barak was either unlucky or
not a good military
man, because he was defeated at the hand of Ilkhans. And he sustained an injury during the battle, and on the way back to Chagatai, he died, which allowed Khaidu to install his puppet on the throne. So
he cannot directly claim.
Yeah, because it's Chagatai's lineage.
Yeah, it's Chagatai's lineage.
Khaidu is Ugutei's lineage. So, but he installs Prince Duwa in the throne in Chagatai Ulus. So basically, he takes effective control over the Chagatai Ulus. And we are always talking about Khaidu's realm, Chagatai Ulus. Let us see where. Okay. That way it will become clear. This is domain of Khaidu. Okay. And it is interesting that some of the Kyrgyz, they believe that they are descendants of Khaidu, because Kyrgyz territory was under Khaidu. So you will see Golden Horde, and then, well, here it is Chagatai Ulus, effectively under control of Khaidu. And again, the question rises here: how come that he has feud with the Great Khan in Yuan dynasty? I mean, given the Kublai's resources, manpower, economic resources, and Khaidu's manpower, but he effectively stands against Kublai, fought so many wars with him, battles and wars, which is
defending steppe aristocracy, steppe lifestyle.
Yeah, that's what I'm going
to,
because he cherished the ideals of the steppe aristocracy, nomadic ideals, and that's why everybody who was against Kublai's political line came to Khaidu. That way, his forces becoming strong enough to stand against the great emperor in Beijing. And if you see, they even undertook invasions into Yuan territory. At that period, one of the Chinese historians, Yao Sui, he wrote in his book that Kublai had to keep 100,000 Mongol soldiers and in the western frontiers, and 150,000 in the garrisons in the western part. So, well, it was really drawing a lot of resources from Kublai Khan at the time when he was trying to fight his war in the seas, against Vietnam, against Burma, and against Japan. And he had to allocate significant resource. in the western part.
So Khaidu gave quite much trouble to Khulai.
Yeah, he was true.
But there was a very delicate relationship between Khulai and Khaidu. When Khaidu was small, he was even living in the family.
Yes,
of
Khulai. Yeah, yeah.
So in that
that's
sense,
true.
was Khaidu a traitor from Khulai, or was he a defender of Mongol realm?
I would say that when
Very
Chagatai
contradictory
Khan
character.
Algui started invading into Khaidu's territory, that time Khaidu became an enemy of Kublai, because Algui claimed that all what he was doing was in the name of Great Khan. So if you see city of Al-Malik and city of Kailik, it's actually next
Very
to
close.
very close.
So basically, then Khulai started bothering him first. Well, not Khulai, but Tsagatai.
Yeah.
Ulus started bothering him first, and he was just, responding.
Yes, and indirectly, he was the reason why Kublai started his sea expeditions. Because, Kublai was aware about the wars between Golden Horde and Ilkhans, so he really wanted to help his brother Khulgu. But now, if you see, he cannot send reinforcement over the mainland because Khaidu is there in between. So whatever he would send to Ilkhans will have to cross the means of Khaidu, with the battles and hostilities. So it seems that Kublai decided, okay, if I cannot reach Khulgu over the land, I will try to reach over the sea. That's where all his sea expansions has started.
Which is another story.
That's definitely another
story. His naval adventures of Kublai. Yeah. Now, then, what do we have now? Khaidu is in the steppe.
Khaidu is in control of Ugudai's realm and Chagatai's realm. He's getting quite strong. And Kublai, as I mentioned, had to keep significant forces in western frontiers in order to stand against Khaidu, and he sent his grandson Nomulun as the head of the expeditionary force in the western China, or Xinjiang into these terms. And it was always risky for Kublai, because you see, there was always a risk that a prince who is commanding 100,000 strong expeditionary force might come back to Beijing to claim the throne as well, which actually happened afterwards.
But this is his grandson.
Okay, but if Kublai dies, there will be a couple of dozen grandsons who will be claiming for the throne. So that was always a risk for him in other ways. So now we are coming to the year of 1301, when Khaidu died, because Khaidu was having incessant battles in the western part of Mongolia with Kublai forces.
For 40 years.
For 40 years. Starting from 1260, ending 1301. Yeah.
What did he achieve?
Well, first of all, he recreated the realm, which has been dissolved by Great Khan Munke. And secondly, he became a source of the concentration of opposition to Kublai. So anybody who is against Kublai would go to Khaidu. There were so many cases when many princes were going to Khaidu in support of him and in support against the great Khan Kublai. But 1301, in one of the battles in the western Altai Mountains, Khaidu has sustained an injury, and obviously he died shortly afterwards. Before his death, he wanted his youngest son Urus to succeed him.
Urus?
Urus, that was his name.
Like Rus.
Yeah. By the way, there are quite a few Hans with the name of Urus. And then table turns in Khaidu realm. Remember Duwa, who was put on the throne by Khaidu?
Yes, in Chagatai also.
Yeah. Now he became the elder one in this realm. And he denies throne to Rus. Instead, he installs Chabar, eldest son, who was obviously untalented and not a good military commander and very short-sighted guy.
Which was good for...
Which is good for Duwa, because now in the turn of the table, he will control, instead of Khaidu, he will control both the realms. And Khotulun, the warrior princess, she insisted that his father's last will should be implemented and Urus should succeed to the throne, and Chabar chased her out. And
the brother chases the sister out.
Yes, and sources say either she was killed or she was confined to the cemetery of the father and died over there. And Duwa, he was a very shrewd guy. So he suddenly realized that with the demise of Khaidu, and Chabar, he probably did not believe that Chabar is going to be a capable ruler of Khaidu realm. So he suddenly finds himself against everybody. Kublai, Kublai was dead by that time. Timur was the great Khan in Karakorum, and then they were having really big problems with Ilkhans, with the continuous wars that Barak and Duwa fought with them. And
but Timur was in Beijing.
Timur was in Beijing, yeah. And then
now there is no Harharun. Well, there is Harharun, but
it's not a capital anymore. Yeah, and Golden Horde was also not happy with Duwa because of the territorial issues, etc. And then Duwa again turns the table, and he writes a letter to Great Khan Timur, recognizing his authority.
Now he recognizes only.
Yeah. Timur recognizes Duwa on the throne of Chagatai Wolves, but he says no Ugudai realm.
Okay.
And Ugudai's realm has been divided between the Yuan dynasty and Chagatai Wolves. And that's how this story of Khaidu ended. And if you remember, we had one of the episodes about the letter of Ulzit Khan to
Philip the Bell,
Philip the Fair. And in this letter, Ulzit Khan refers about 4 Khans. Remember that?
Yes, Tokta,
Timur, Tokta in Golden Horde, Duwa,
yes,
and
Chagatai,
and Ilkhan, Ulzit. So he refers that all 4 Khans now are together, unity is restored.
Roads are installed.
Yeah, so basically this is the story that story starts from here.
1305.
Yeah, letter is 1304.
1305.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the story of Khaidu ended. And I must say that it also started another process. Signification of Mongolian aristocracy in China, Muslimization of Golden Horde and Chagatai aristocracy, and also same process goes in Ilkhans. So steppe traditions basically are going back, are going down to the history from that period. That's why Russian historian Lev Nikolaevich Gumilev, he wrote about Khaidu as the last great warrior of the steppe.
And it is true, yes.
And that is true.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, he fought for the defense of the nomadic legacies of the Mongol Empire.
Yeah.
And it's truly a tragic story. Of course, we made this talk, we only covered that fight between Kurultai, Arikbuch, and the emergence of Khaidu. But we will come back to that period of the rule of Kurultai. Because Kurultai was enthroned in 1260 and rules for 34 years.
Yeah, until 1294.
94.
Until his death.
34 years, right?
Yes.
So these 34 years also have greatly consolidated the Yuan Empire. Now we are moving from the Mongol Empire into Yuan Empire. So in our future podcasts, we will be discussing the real legacies and the strengths and powers of Kurultai.
And also, after all, we have to understand why he moved to the south, why he preferred to start the signification of Mongol aristocracy. Maybe after that we will come back to Golden Horde, what was happening in Golden Horde in the later period and in
Definitely. But in your view, you already explained that in order to rule China, you have to be there. You have to install your capital there. You have to be present in China.
And you have to become Chinese.
And you have to become Chinese. He was educated where? In Mongolia or in China?
Actually, Kurultai was educated in China, and his teachers were Chinese.
His teachers were Chinese.
Yeah, very famous Chinese scientists, teachers. And Kurultai knew very well about the Chinese culture.
Can you tell us about the family of Toluid? So he had 4 sons. He had, unfortunately, he had a very good queen, Sarhaktin, who raised 4 boys as Hans. What was the relationship in their childhood?
Well, you see,
so he lived in China, and Arikbuch and others lived in Mongol.
In Harhoring.
In Harhoring.
Yes.
And Hulgu went to Baghdad to Ilkhan.
During the Mongol Khan's reign, the Hulgu started his campaign to the Western Asia, Iran, Persia, Asia Minor, etc. And I must say that Mongol was brought up in Mongolian steppes, but
with Arikbuch. What was the age difference? And we need to know more about the four boys, 4 sons and 4 Hans. Well, obviously, Queen Sarhaktan gave birth to 4 great sons who, at their own times, become Hans of certain parts of the empire. And of course, I would think they would all have. There would be an hours-long story if we tell their stories separately. But a little bit, could you please clarify on their relations or relationship as brothers? Kurultai was raised in Beijing, and Arikbuch in Mongolia, Hulgu in Mongolia, Munkhan, definitely Han, the most senior one.
Yeah, well, first of all, Munch was elder one. I think he was born in 1209, and Kurultai was born 6 or 7 years later. Whereas Hulgu was 2 years younger than Kublai, and Erikbuch, the youngest one, was, I think, 2 years younger than Hulgu. So one can assume that Kublai and Hulgu were very close because of the
Age proximity.
And as I mentioned earlier, if Hulgu remained in Mongolia, he might have been Great Khan instead of Kublai. But now you're right that we are going to enter into a very long story, maybe for another chapter of our podcasts. And one thing, if you have noticed, Marco Polo was in Khaidu's place.
He's talking about Hotulun.
Yeah, he's writing about Hotulun, and he was in Al-Malik, and then he was in Kublai's court. He depicted all these wonderful years in China, and that gives us a thought. Okay, how come that these guys are fighting a war between each other for over 40 years, and traders are freely visiting both Al-Malik and Hambalik. So that's another fascinating part of the story, that there are wars going on, but none of them are touching the trade that was going along the Great Silk Road.
So that's about the institutional strength of the empire.
Yes.
The Gürege system. Regardless of those contentions within the empire, Gürege system, free passage, free trade, was still in place.
Yeah.
Although, Hambalik had a blockade on Khaidu's state.
Yeah, that shows Mongol Khans, they separated economic issue from political issue. Maybe politically they are fighting war, but money is money. So, and there were cases even that they were having a joint venture during the war.
Very interesting. Very pragmatic.
Very pragmatic. And that is another untold and really, story that is not really studied well.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Otkun. Here we end our story about Khaidu Han, which basically embodies the story of the fall of the unified empire, lived for close to 60 years, 55, 60 years. But from then on, the glory of the Mongol Empire will continue under the leadership of Hövdla Han through Yuan Dynasty. Thank you very much, and we will see you in our next podcast.